I can't wait to get my hair cut.
What?
I can't wait to get my hair cut. Like my hands are so dry.
I just got mine done yesterday.
Nice.
You could see the
dye.
Welcome to the Now Podcast, Making Moves in Real Estate, episode 16. Courtney and I are super pumped to welcome this real estate powerhouse and educational leader. With over 2 decades of experience in the real estate industry, she has established herself as a trailblazer and visionary leader, having facilitated over 500, let me say that again, $500 million in real estate transactions. But not content with just revolutionizing the real estate landscape, she ventured into education, becoming the owner of an all-boys school, which has since transitioned into a co-educational institution under her guidance. So this bold move showcases her commitment to inclusivity and innovation in education. This began her journey in real estate at the age of 21, purchasing her first investment property and laying the foundation for a remarkable career. And today she stands at the helm of one of the largest real estate organizations in the world, guiding it to an unprecedented success and growth. Her visionary leadership and unwavering commitment to success makes her a true icon in her respective fields. So we're incredibly grateful to have you here today, Claudienne Hibbert Smith. I butchered that. I practiced it for 2 weeks. Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me here.
We had the pleasure of hearing you speak at EXPCon back in October. As I had told you, you were definitely one of our favorite speakers. Your story is amazing.
Well,
Why don't you tell us?
That. And I love that intro, by the way. I was like, where'd they get that from? I like that. Send it to me.
Well, I kind of took what I loved about it. Yeah, I could have gone on and on. Yeah, thank you.
Right on point. Yes, I had an opportunity to speak at GrowthCon. And as you may know, I was the runner-up of maybe about 60,000 people who applied. I got down to the nitty-gritty, 130 people. I didn't even make the top 10. I made the top 15. I was a maybe. Wow. And God is just great. I was able to get on that stage, share my story, hopefully impact and inspire people. That day, over 5,000 people in the audience and 150,000 people online. I'd say that was a huge success.
I would say that too.
I just got goosebumps. You give me goosebumps.
Oh.
Tell our listeners that are currently tuning in, let's just hear a little bit about your story. It is remarkable.
So, I'll just start right here at the age of 14. I gave birth to my son, Amari, who's going to be 30 this year. I'm 44. Just had a difficult time. I was just dealt. I don't even know if I was dealt those cards. I think I created the deck. I didn't come from a terrible background. My mom worked. My dad was an entrepreneur. But for some reason, I was just leading down the wrong path. And I gave birth to my son. I got pregnant at 14. Many people said, I'd have 4 or 5 kids by the time I was 14. By the time I was in 11th grade, and I would probably drop out of high school. And the truth is, if I would have continued down that path, that could have been my story. But I ran into a great mentor of mine, and I'm actually sitting in her house. This is really weird because I'm 44 today. That was when I was 15, actually 13. She went on to Dallas, got married, started some businesses there, and I kind of just went off on a tangent. And that was really the brink of me or the beginning of me making a shift. Mm-hmm. That was actually the beginning of me making a shift. And I remember like it was yesterday, she said, Claudia, you know what, if you do well in school, I'll just buy you a car when you graduate from high school. And that's what I had to hold on to because my parents couldn't afford to buy me a vehicle. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I was going to go to college somewhere. I didn't know where, didn't know what, but I just knew I wanted better for my life. And I said, you know what? Let me just I got kicked out of my last school. I said, let me just pick some new friends. You know, we all had swag still, but we were all involved. I became the vice president of my school, graduated from there, went on to the University of Florida, got my car paid off. It was
Nice.
not an easy one though. It was not easy, but I did. And that was the beginning of me creating a different life for me. And the rest is history. We become the best of friends. And I'm literally sitting in, and this is weird because I'm never really over here. And I'm over here today, sitting in her living room in the house she just bought that I was able to sell her. She downsized for a little bit. Her kids had gone off to college. She tried the condo life. And then she decided, you know what, I want to live in this area. And now we're here. And that's just that.
Wow. I guess you recognize the power of the proximity principle, and who you surround yourself really can make or break you. And fortunately, it sounds like you found that at a fairly young age, which got you some major hardships.
So she would say that we're sisters, but I would say that I have two moms. I have my rich mom, and then I have my poor mom. And I don't mean poor in terms of and literally specifically for finances. And so I learned a lot about money very early on in my life. I have traveled on, I've had experiences, and there are experiences that I could tell you that I would not have afforded myself in that moment in time in my life. So I'm excited. I'm excited to actually be doing this interview in her living room.
That's really cool.
Pretty special.
We've had a couple of guests on our podcast talking about creating generational wealth. So at 21 years old, with a young boy, you went to college, graduated, and purchased your first real estate transaction at 21. So what made you do that?
So it's interesting that I bring up Rich Dad Poor Dad, because that was the book of the foundation. And I'm not even an avid reader. Like, if she wanted me to get something out of a book, she'd take a copy of the page and say, okay, I know you're not going to read the whole book, but you got to read these 2 pages. And she'd send it to me. You need friends like that.
Yes.
You have to understand who you are. And, you have to surround yourself with people who do the things that you may not do, but it's really a good thing. Because I could tell you, I read a lot of books, but I'm not an avid reader. Like, I'm not on a quest to read 50 books this year. That's just not me. But when you're hanging around and when you're around people who do read a lot, you'll just, it just comes to you because you start having conversations about a book you didn't read. Now you have insight, I have insight. And sometimes I feel like I read the book that I didn't really read, to be honest with you. But I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad in college. And it was the basis of me becoming an investor, to be honest. I knew nothing about real estate. All I knew is that I wanted to make a lot of money to help a lot of people. And that was my thing. I mean, if you even look me up in some biz here in Florida, which is where you would create your company name, your LLC, your INC, your nonprofit. Man, I haven't been at this thing since about 16, okay? And although some of those things didn't work, I just knew that I wanted to make a lot of money so I could help a lot of people. And although Rich Dad Poor Dad was not really, as I look at it now, I was like, man, they missed a lot of stuff about real estate. I became a realtor when I was 21 through her. Once again, she brought me along when she went and bought the property here when she came back from Dallas, Texas, back to Florida. Excuse me. And I got to see how much the realtor made. And the realtor made about 40 grand in one transaction. And I said, you know what? I'm not dumb. I know how to add and subtract, and something's not adding up here. Because it took me a whole year to make $40,000, and I had to go to somebody's job from 8 to 5, wear stockings. Y'all, I live in Florida, South Florida. It's hot. Yes. It's 95 degrees outside, and none of the trees are moving.
Stockings are not your friend.
I had to tell the postman, make sure you stay hydrated. We literally, and so the point is I quit my job 2 days after that experience. I knew nothing about how to get my license. I knew nothing, but this lady made $40,000 and I was going to do the same. I knew how to go to school. I knew how to make good grades because I did that. Even though I had F's in conducts for most of my primary years, I knew I was going to become this real estate agent. I knew nothing about real estate. So anyway, I quit my job. Now I'm like, okay, what do I do? I don't know how many people are wired like that, but I didn't do any of the research first. I did nothing. And then I get in this class and failed the exam twice.
Yeah, that's me.
Failed the exam twice. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm 21, so I'm still kind of hanging out, having fun, partying. So I go to Dallas where she is. And I said, okay, I'm going to spend a week here so I can study and just get focused. And I did. I came back and aced the exam, became a realtor, became the rookie of the year. The rest is history. I went on to do over 500 million in sales. And that was without a team at the time. And, I became an investor. Earlier on, I said, you know what could I do to create passive income so that when I turn 35 and 40, I'm not having to do sales, right? And it just came to me that real estate would be it. I took a risk, bought a duplex, and just kept going and kept going and kept going. Now my husband and I own a 25,000 square foot school building where we're going to teach kids what we didn't get taught as we were maturing and growing up through the school system.
Where is that located? Is that local to you?
It is. It's in Miami. Right, maybe 20 minutes away from where I live. But our school, we already have a school. We're just changing locations. We rent where we do school now, and now we're going to own where we do school.
Perfect.
Of course you are. That's great. So you were 20 years with one brokerage.
So this is true. So those of you that think, oh no, it's too late for me to make a change. And maybe it's not EXP for you. Maybe it's something else. I literally took a risk. I left 10 million in production at my old company. And when I originally 20 years prior signed my agreement, it says that 50% of the business belongs to them if I decide to leave. And they sent that to me. I said, wow, this is interesting. I've been here for 20 years and you would send me this. Well, I was able to gain my commissions at the 95% split at the time. They were able to work some things out with me, but I wasn't able to take my volume with me, which was okay. And I couldn't wait for that volume to close because I'm an active realtor. By the time that closed, I got another 10 million coming.
Exactly.
So I just pulled the plug and said, you know what? I need to shift a little bit. I need to get in a different environment. I need to get around different people. And many people have been recruiting me for EXP. But as you may know, I went with and partnered with Elena Cardone. And I'm glad that I did that. We've become great friends, great business partners, and we're still curating things, curating ideals, coming up with more to really just level up our business.
With your business, what kind of structure do you have as far as like a team? Is it primarily you? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I have about 300 people, a little bit more than 300 in my organization. I built that very quickly. I do have a team. It is a very small team. So for those of that don't know EXP, you can come in as a self-made organization and you can create a team. So you can come by way of Claudienne. And then because you need to be sponsored in, and then you can be sponsored by you guys. And then you might say, okay, wait, but I live in Miami. I want to be a part of Claudienne Hibbert's team. And you can also do that. So not everybody that's in my team is actually sponsored by me.
Interesting. We actually haven't heard a whole lot about that because we only brought our brokerage over in October to EXP, and it's been a nice transition. And there's a lot of options when it comes to teams. A little confusing sometimes.
Yes. But I mean, a person can join a team if they're new. They can definitely just pick a mentor that EXP has identified as a mentor. It's just so many things you can do. You literally just come in and you figure it out. I came in and figured it out. I didn't know a lot about the company when I came, but I did know that there was a growth part. And now, guys, my rev share check increased yesterday. So yesterday was the first day of the new change of unlocking the 1 to 3 without having, 30 FL QAs, So that was interesting yesterday.
We'll
check it out.
That risk to jump to come to EXP.
I was about to retire, and I wanted to get into the coaching world. And I wanted to get into the team building world, but I didn't really know how because I was only licensed in Florida. I still am. I'm not interested in getting 50 licenses. That I'm very clear about. I'm not interested in opening up a brokerage. I'm very clear about that, but I did want to grow a community and a team. And so when I ran into EXP, and I'm an MLMer, so now I understood that who I was attached to was important. I understood that leadership was important. And so although I had been approached with EXP in the past, I was also looking to identify good leadership.
Find
And
your
so that
people.
was important for me. I just needed a change. You know, when you get to a point and you just keep hitting the same at 40 million in production, 40 million in production, 40 million, and like you can't get past it. Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it's who you're aligned with at the time. And obviously the company I was with was great. I was with them for 20 years,
Long
you
time.
know, but I needed to get to another level. And I'm not sure that they had what I needed at the time to get to that next level.
So what do you think? What have you done since then besides aligning with different leadership to that next level? Because you clearly have done it. I mean, you're one of the top
Well, when I
producers
came
with
into
EXP.
when I came into EXP, I had a group of 14. In the first 6 months, I grew to 100 agents.
Wow.
I
Wow.
moved so
Okay.
quick, so
Hang
fast.
on. Can we talk about that?
Oh yeah, let's
Because
talk about it.
how do you do that? You do that.
You 10x it. You 10x whatever you were doing. I would do launch calls every day for 30 days straight. Then I moved from every day, 30 minutes a day to maybe an hour. If we decided to do Q&A at the time. So it just went something like this. Hey guys, I'm with EXP. And I think some people were on they had the thought of leaving. But when I moved, it was like, wow, she left. She was with the company for 20 years. Like, what's over here? And so I got a lot of that. And people were like, oh my God, Claudienne, where I'm going to. So there were some people that were already on edge, but didn't really know, or maybe they were being recruited by not the people that they were most attracted to,
Right.
or in alignment with. And then I just went to work. Like I just got louder on social media. Hey, I'm here with the XP. I want to show you how you can create several incomes, not just by producing, but by growing a team, by building a rev share. There's so many ways you can make income over here.
Even just the stock. I'm like, oh,
I didn't even touch on the stock.
I know. I'm like, that little stock. Whoa, got more stock. It's like,
Yes,
it's like fun.
exactly. Exactly. So you're talking about all these different components that could really propel a person like yourselves, like me. I'm not interested in doing a brokerage, right? I love my freedom. I love not having the responsibility of escrow disputes. And I'm very clear about that. And so now I'm taking a platform and literally building from it to continue to build other things that I'm doing.
So before you went to EXP, do you remember how many followers you had? Because you're like at over 200,000. I'm like, did that happen? Like, is that?
I think definitely, I don't know what those stats are specifically, but I can tell you there was a shift. I was on the Grant Cardone show, the real estate show. That was amazing before I even came to EXP. And so, yes, there's something about who you're around. I just did a huge podcast with Elena Cardone. Guys, it's a big deal. And here I am doing a podcast with you. Like, that's a big deal. So, I don't really know the stats on the actual numbers and the growth, but I can tell you that there's definitely been a shift in growth.
From coming to EXP.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
I don't even think it's just coming to EXP. It was a new energy for me.
Yeah.
Like I was able to reinvent myself. Like, I'm reinventing myself now. If you can't tell, with the red hair, it's short, it's long. I wore long hair, wore braids a lot. And I said, you know what? I just want to change. Like when I get on this 10X stage, I want people to say, wow. Like,
that's great, by the way.
Transformed.
Yes, you look amazing. But even when we saw you in Vegas, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like you
energized us. We
wow.
talked about you a lot. You didn't even know it. We were sending it to our team. We had videos of you. We tagged you on social. We were like your little super fans.
Yeah. Well,
You.
we're getting ready to do, so we've only been with EXP since October.
After EXPCon, actually.
After EXPCon, we're in like everybody else that goes to an event. So the two of us decided to do our own event. We just birthed this idea like 2 weeks ago in Fresno. And you basically, I'm like, I gotta channel you when we do this thing, because you just bring so much energy. And this is the time to be doing this. We're trying to get 300 people. We've got excellent international speakers coming. By the way, only happened because we have fostered great relationships within a short amount of time, while being with EXP would never have happened.
Yes.
So we're very excited. But any tips for us on events, speaking, and
You know what? I always speak from my heart. I never really write. I've never written a script. I've never written a speech. I literally go in the room, feel what the room is feeling like, and that's where I take my speech. Now, if it's real estate specific, it's a little different. I might have a slideshow that I put together, but I try to just do what I'm good at doing when I'm speaking. So, and I'll be honest with y'all, I practiced the morning of 10X GrowthCon. Wow. I literally took 2 hours and I practiced my speech right there in my room while GrowthCon was going on. I was on the online portion of the time that I wasn't inside. And I was nervous. I got a text message that said I was going to go first the day of, 3 hours before. So of course that created some bubbly feelings. But I'll tell you this, when I stepped on the stage, I felt like I was talking to family. I felt like I was talking to people that needed to hear what I had to say. And it's like the butterflies just left. And I could see Grant talking to Elena saying, I don't think she's going to make the 2 minutes. And I made it. You know, I was watching. I was very cognizant of the times in front of me. I just felt like, you know what? This is practice for the next big stage. Like, this is practice for when I'm in an arena speaking to hundreds of thousands of people in seats. And so I just took that approach and just really just speak from the heart and make sure you're not boring. Make sure you're not boring. Make sure that it's relatable. You know, make sure, and I gotta say this, because during the speak off when we were, you know, trying to make the speak off, you know, I remember Grant giving some feedback to someone, and it was just like, you know, you're not going to change what you look like, so we can't do that. And she was white, and he says, your message almost feels like you're coming from white privilege. And I thought about that. You know, obviously I'm not white, and I don't know what it is to be white, but I took that same advice and I translated it to me. You know, I want people to feel, no matter what color, no matter what race, what I'm communicating from my mouth to their ears, so that they can be revolutionized, so they can be impacted, so they can be influenced for good. If they thought, you know, doing this over here was unimaginable, now they can imagine. You know, when I think about me owning a 25,000 square foot school building, it's just like, this is not really supposed to be me, according to what they said. But look at the things that we're doing. We're growing like crazy in EXP, you know, and it doesn't mean that everything's always smooth. I don't want to give you that persona. But like anything else, nothing is perfect. You got to get through the punches. You got to become, you know, a leader. I didn't even, you know, Elena was my sponsor and she was very helpful, but I didn't even really tap in until I showed up. I didn't really tap in until I showed up, because I didn't want her to feel like, here's another person that just wants to suck me dry. I wanted them to be calling me. I wanted them to look in their back office and say, who is this? I just went to work. And it's the same thing with speaking. You just got to do what other people are not willing to do. You know, we're about to do a tour. Like, I'm just curating. I don't even know what the tour looks like. I don't know where we're going first. I just text my leadership team. Said, we got to do a tour. And we got Target Musa, Hoss Pratt, Lisa Copeland, Theolena Cardone. Why are we not on tour?
Right? I think you guys need to come to Fresno, California to our event on June 28th.
There you
Bring
go.
your tour.
There you go. And so just constantly curating, making sure you drop. I'm having an event tomorrow. It's free. But the truth is it's not free because I've got somebody's name, email, phone number in my database for my August 31st event. I'm going to be turning 45. So it's going to be my 45th birthday. I don't know what that event is going to look like. My son is just start dropping videos on my Instagram. I'm not even videos, just type 45. I'm like, what is this? He's like, Mom, you're doing an event. I'm like, I am. What is the event? I was like, well, who is the speaker?
I signed up for I Am Person.
That's the event.
That I signed up for it. I got in somehow.
So listen to this. I added at the last minute. So let me give you the backstory of I Am a Person. So in the 5th grade, my classmate was doing interviews, and this is when VHS tapes were out. My other classmate's dad was filming us, and she's like, Claudia, you gotta no, she's like, okay, tell us your name and what you want to do when you grow up. I knew nothing about college. I knew nothing about none of that stuff. And so I got on and of course, I didn't want to not say something. I had a mic and I was about to say something. So she's like, well, okay, tell us who you are and you know, what you want to do when you grow up. I said, my name is Claudienne Hibbert and I want to be a person. And then they start, well, what kind of person? People before me was like, I'm going to this college and I'm going to play basketball. And I didn't know anything about that stuff. So that's where I got, I'm a person. And it just stuck. So I added that at the beginning of my speech because a lot of times people don't think that they're worthy of doing something. Now, I knew what I was trying to say. I was trying to say I was going to be big and famous. That's all that mattered. Well, what was it? And I ended up going to college. And here's the thing. All those people that said they were going to this college, Charlie not doing nothing. They are doing nothing. They are
big talkers.
Doing nothing. So there you go. You can have the biggest dreams. You can know where you're going and end up not being anywhere. And so guess what? The only thing that was important to me at that time was that I was going to be a person. And there you go.
There you have it.
Yeah, I saw it on your social, and you however you rolled it out made me feel like I got in, which I'm sure everybody got in some capacity, but I'm like, I'm special. I got in. It's August 14th or something. So it's on my calendar.
Yeah, so I moved it because some of my speakers were not available. So I moved it to August 31st.
Okay, there you go. I'll have to adjust it in my schedule.
Don't worry, you'll get a text message from us.
Yeah. Well, that's so great. I mean, I've heard so many good things for our listeners to walk away with. Like, number one, like you didn't, what'd you say? You didn't show up until you leaned in, or leaned in, showed up? Either way, show up, right?
Show up, do the work, and then go and figure out your resources.
Yeah.
So many people want a handout, but I always take the approach of how can I help you? Like, how can I help y'all? How can I help your podcast grow some more numbers? How can I be helpful to the person that said, like, I always remember my humble beginnings, all the no's, all the people that didn't want to be involved. And now look at you.
Powerhouse.
Also,
oh yeah,
another
my real estate
leader.
Ooh, let me see that. She's got a really cool realtor cup there. That's awesome.
Well, another leader that I feel is just a leader with a servant heart which is the people that we want to be around, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us. I mean, you've helped me just in like, okay, give yourself some grace and just be you.
Really? Absolutely. Light up the room. Make sure that those people, if they don't leave with everything, make sure they leave with one thing that can change their lives the minute they can walk out of that room.
Well, on that note, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, my socials, Claudienne Hibbert, across all socials.
Nice. And then are we going to see you in Miami? I mean, I feel like that's a really dumb question.
Yeah,
I'll be
sure. All right.
Yes. We'll everybody we should have EXPCon every year in Miami.
Would be convenient for you.
Yeah.
We're so excited. Can't wait to see you again. Thank you for taking out your time. We know it's very valuable. We really appreciate it. We look forward to
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much. You have a good rest of your day.
All righty. Bye, y'all.
Bye.